This is awesome. That's it. Very reminiscent of Toy Story 3, using teamwork, using all the toys to do various tasks that ultimately perform one thing that they're trying to do. And it's very clever, and it's well thought out, and it reminds me of Toy Story 3. Of course, the animation is as close to Toy Story 3 as any of the Toy Story movies, but it's even better than Toy Story 3. Okay, so hold on, I'm gonna go watch that 17 more times, and then I'm gonna give my full analysis. Well, okay, I just watched it 17 times. Here's what really stood out. Okay, this is a flashback scene. This is a flashback because, as we know from the plot synopsis, Woody reunites with Bo Peep. Well, in this, they're like acting as if, nothing's been changed. And why is that? Well, because this is a flashback to when Andy owned the toys. There is an 11-year gap in movie time and in real time between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3. So what happened in that long 11-year gap? I'm so happy that we're actually gonna get to explore some of that. This is a flashback. We're not gonna see too much of it, but that's why you see characters like RC. That's why Bo Peep is in her original dress. As you know, in the Super Bowl spot, when we saw Bo Peep, she was in her new badass, like warrior Bo Peep outfit with bandages around her arms. That's what she looks like when she reunites with Woody in present day. But back here, she is the typical Bo Peep that we know, and I'll get more into that a little bit later. But that's why we see the Barbies. Those Barbies, supposedly, I don't remember the exact design, but Workout Barbie from Toy Story 3 and her two friends, they were the Barbies at the end of Toy Story 2 singing with Wheezy when he was like, "You got a friend in me." Yes, you do. Remember that? So we're actually getting to see them because, in Toy Story 2, it ends like that, and then Toy Story 3 picks up 11 years later, and the Workout Barbie is the only Barbie in the entire movie because, it's assumed that Molly, well, it's not assumed, it's basically said, Molly has grown up and she's gotten rid of all her Barbies, and that Workout Barbie is like the last Barbie standing. It's so cool that we're actually gonna get to have, more adventures in that 11-year gap between Toy Story 2 and 3 with all of the Barbies. It's cool to see Barbies on screen. They're hot, Can't dig myself out of this one. Now, I expect these flashback scenes to be very brief, but what I want to know, is this going to open the movie? Is this going to lead into how Bo Peep ventured out on her own? Because in an official press release by Disney, they stated that Bo Peep gets tired of collecting dust and she takes it upon herself to set out into the real world and have real world adventures. When I saw that clip, I didn't actually remember that at first. I was thinking, maybe this is how Bo Peep gets lost. Bo Peep tries to go help RC, which is so cool to see RC again, because again, he was completely absent from Toy Story 3. We know that he was probably given away. So is this the scene where RC gets, well, not given away, maybe he dies, maybe something happens, he gets destroyed. He looks like he's not doing very well in that rain. By the way, the rain looks so cool, it looks beautiful. And maybe Bo Peep goes to rescue RC and she gets lost herself. But then I thought, no, what is that too reminiscent of? What is that reminding me of? Toy Story 2. Remember in Toy Story 2 when Wheezy, the penguin, through a series of events, he is in danger of being sold at Andy's mom's yard sale. Woody takes it upon himself to go rescue Wheezy and then ends up being kidnapped himself. And then the whole movie begins. I don't think they would redo that again. I mean, we know that from Disney's press release, Bo Peep doesn't get lost. Bo Peep, it's not an accident for her absence. The movie doesn't happen to her, it happens because of her. They want her to be a strong female character and really make decisions for herself. So she's gonna be the one to say, you know what, I am leaving. So I'm thinking potentially this scene is the scene that RC can get damaged, and she decides, you know what, this is the last straw. What are we doing here? Andy's growing up. I'm not collecting dust anymore. I'm gonna go out and live life on my own. She says her goodbyes to Woody and she brings her sheep with her who have names. I don't remember what the names are, but her sheep have names. And Woody's like, you never told me that. And she's like, you never asked. And it's like, well, why wouldn't you just introduce the sheep to Woody when you first entered Andy's room? But I don't know. Bo Peep was always more the timid character, and now they're definitely changing her character. And that's another thing. Bo Peep has always been the timid persona, the typical damsel in distress. Her role was just to support Woody. She was really the typical love interest, and they're seeming to change that. They're seeming to make her more in demand, more in control. She uses her staff to pull things up. She commands orders similarly to Woody does, and I'm wondering maybe it's because they're in Molly's room now. You see Molly's name up on the wall, so maybe Woody is the commanding figure, the commanding chief in Andy's room. Bo Peep is in terms of Molly's room. Maybe that's why, maybe because it's been around 5 years since Toy Story 2. I hope it's around 5 years. These flashback scenes after Toy Story 2, right midway mania. Midway between Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, 5 to 6 years after Toy Story 2 because Bo Peep, her personality seems different. She's more in command. I originally thought she was only going to be more in command after she sets out into the real world, and for another 5-6 years, you know, she gets toughened as a soul, and then when she eventually meets up with Woody and reunites with him in present day, then she's a completely changed person. But it seems like to me, she's already changed. Something has already changed. Maybe Andy's not playing with the toys as often. That's why they're in Molly's room. Bo Peep is collecting dust. Maybe she's just being very existential and thinking there's got to be more to this, you know, there's got to be more to life. She has the opposite opinion as Woody. Woody's like, we live to please and we're only here because of our owners. That's what we do. This is what we're made for. And Bo Peep is challenging that very idea. Like, you know what, Woody, maybe you're wrong. Like, maybe there's more to being a toy. Why? Toys have souls just the way that humans do. Why can humans go out and explore and have fun and have adventures and we just have to be owned? Why can't we have adventures of our own? And so those thoughts are really there already in 2005, you know? And so in present day, when she meets up with Woody and reunites with Woody, she has physically changed. Her look has changed, but her mentality is pretty much the same as 2005. Or maybe she's happy. She feels like she is living her purpose and she is happy and not regretful that she went out and explored the world. And she's like, Woody, you can't believe all the things I've done. Like, it's been so amazing. And Woody's like, yeah, we have a new owner, it's kind of cool, you know, but Woody is like doing the same routine. So Bo Peep might convince Woody to go out into the world and abandon Woody's owner. This would be out of character for Woody, but there's no point in making the movie if Woody's just going to be the same character every single time. There needs to be changes, as long as they're explained, and they're justified and you buy into it. The animation is different on her character specifically. Her face is more expressive, her eyes kind of protrude, whereas it was kind of like Mrs. Potts in the new Beauty and the Beast movie, where it was all like flat, her face, and the expressions were kind of just lines on the porcelain moving, but now it's like a lot more expressive and fun. And Pixar has done this before. Look at Tony Ridinger in The Incredibles 2. In the first Incredibles, he looked like a 27-year-old man, and instead of like going with that character design moving forward, they said, you know what, like, that wasn't right for the character. He looks way too old and mature. We gotta make him cuter. We gotta make him look like a teenager. So they completely changed his character design, and that's fine. Audiences really didn't seem to notice or care.
You're, Violet, right?
That's me. See you, bye.
You look different.
I feel different.
Another thing about the animation looks so good. Look at that shot of Slinky Dog. Like the way he shines is amazing. The way the sheep shine is also cool, but they're made out of porcelain, so they almost should have always shined. But with Slinky, it's like we've seen so much of Slinky and he's never looked like that before. So it's really cool. I'm all for it. The only thing though is that the animation, we accept the animation progresses as the movies go on, because not only does the animation advances, but the time advances. We're advancing in time, so we subconsciously accept that we're also advancing in animation style. You know, again, 1995, 1999, 2010, 2019, but there's a little bit of a curveball here because these are flashbacks. We're supposed to believe that these take place in 2005-ish, right? After Toy Story 2. So you go, like, if someone were to edit together like the end of Toy Story 2 and then these like flashbacks which take place sometime after Toy Story 2, it's like jarring. It's like the animation just goes from here to there. It's crazy. Whereas you have that slow progression of animation style increasing if you watch them in chronological order, because you accept, okay, time is progressing, so animation progresses. But here it's like, no, we're reversing in time for these flashback scenes and we're progressing in animation. So it's a little bit jarring in that sense. But again, Pixar is not one to be like, well, we have all these tools and we're capable of amazing animation, let's not use it because it's a flashback. No, that's not the case. At the end of the day, it's the story, the audience pieces together the puzzle. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like if they made a movie in the 60s and then in 2020, they're like, we're gonna remake, no, let's do a prequel to that movie from the 60s. It's gonna be so hard to convince the audience this is before the movie from the 1960s. It's just hard to believe. Like, you might as well move forward in time. But again, this is gonna be the only time that we actually get to explore some of that 11-year gap between 2 and 3. So I'm all for it. Let's explore it. I wanna see those Barbies again, you know? Those workout Barbies, call me. I wanna see Wheezy potentially. Wheezy has a great presence in the theme parks now, which is very surprising. I was super surprised, and then I thought, what if they're kind of setting him up to be in Toy Story 4. He would have to be voiced by a different voice actor, but they already have cast one because Wheezy talks at the end of Slinky Dog Dash. He greets you, he sings "You Got a Friend in Me" in his vibrato voice, and then he goes back to his Wheezy voice, and he's like, "I'm so happy for all of you to be here." And you could tell it's a different voice from Toy Story 2.
I think I feel a song coming on.
But it's fine. Just have a little cameo for Wheezy. I don't want to see Wheezy come back in present day. I just want to see him in these 2005 flashbacks because I think that it would take away from the message of Toy Story 3. If that all the toys that Andy gave away came back, then it would kind of take away from that. Like the original group that survive in Toy Story 3, they're like, through every spring cleaning, through every yard sale, Andy held on to us. He must care about us or we wouldn't be here. You know, and that really would kind of be taken away from if all those old toys that were abandoned or given away came back. So I don't want all of them to come back. Bo Peep is enough, and her sheep, that's enough. I think all of them, even RC, I think RC's gonna die, honestly, because in Toy Story 3, they don't mention RC. They're just like, yeah, we lost friends along the way. Wheezy and Etch and Bo Peep. Yeah, even Bo. All good toys gone on to new owners. And they didn't mention RC. And then some people noticed that. You didn't mention RC. Well, maybe he didn't go on to a new owner. Maybe he died and they just didn't want to mention it. So, and I don't think they're going to ever say the word die or death in Toy Story, but it's going to be implied. You know, if he's destroyed, it's like, what kind of life is he going to live? Maybe his batteries run out, or I don't know. I have an RC at home. He has batteries, and if he was in the water in the rain, he'd kind of die out. But I think Wheezy gave him a small little cameo in this Molly's Room 2005 flashback, and you don't have to bring him back in present day. So, wow, we talked for a while. Let me know your predictions for Toy Story 4. Are you excited by the animation style? Do you think Bo Peep's character is a little bit too out of character? Are you happy with the changes and you don't really mind? How excited are you for Toy Story 4? Leave me all your suggestions, comments, and concerns in the comment section below. And I don't think this is the end of Toy Story 4 coverage. I think when the trailer comes out, the full trailer, we'll react to that and we'll talk about that too. So subscribe, there's definitely more coming. I'm Mega Cool, and now you are too. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Smash that like button if you did. I got more videos up here for you to enjoy. Also subscribe so that you don't miss what's next. I'm Mega Cool, and now you are too.